As requested, I will translate the Chinese story you provided into natural and fluent English, replace the characters' names, and enrich the plot. The final text will not contain any Chinese characters or special symbols. Here is the translated and embellished story. I was the last one to find out Chloe was pregnant. It happened on a day she rarely posted on social media. She had forgotten to mute the background audio of a live photo, and a woman's worried voice drifted out. "You're already 6 months along. Aren't you going to tell Ethan and plan the wedding?" A moment later, Chloe scoffed. "Don't let this get out. He's so in love with me. I'm afraid he'll make a scene and make everyone miserable if he finds out. I'll tell him after the wedding." She was right. The old me would have confronted her, demanding an explanation. I had loved her for 11 years, and before I went abroad to study, she promised we would be together as soon as I returned. But now, she wanted everyone to keep this secret from me. I couldn't understand it. But today, it was clear that the dream was over. Shortly after, our mutual friend, Liam, commented, "You forgot to mute the background." The post vanished instantly. Then my phone buzzed. It was Chloe. For the past 3 months, she had been incredibly distant. This was the first time she had initiated contact. I stared at her name on the screen, my heart clenching as if squeezed by an invisible hand. "Ethan, what are you doing?" "Still studying." Her voice was as gentle as ever, a mix of concern and probing. "Yeah, I managed. Make sure you take care of yourself. Eat well." "Okay." A few seconds of silence passed before she asked, her voice tinged with nervousness. Did you see something?" In the past, her concern would have made me bubble with joy, eager to share every detail of my life, every minute of my day. But my uncharacteristically flat responses today must have made her suspicious. "I haven't had time to look at my phone today," I lied. "I'm tired. I'm going to hang up now." I ended the call before she could reply. Looking at the suitcase by my feet, a bitter, self-deprecating laugh escaped my lips. I had graduated early, rushing back home just to see her sooner, only to be greeted with this grand gift the moment I landed. And our so-called friends had all conspired to hide it from me. I hailed a cab and headed for a hotel. The hotel lobby was opulent and grand. I dragged my suitcase, my steps feeling unsteady and light. It turned out that the hotel I had booked was the very same one where Chloe was holding her wedding. Before I could even check in, I saw her, nestled in the arms of Adrian, discussing wedding arrangements with the staff. Chloe leaned against him like a delicate bird, her figure noticeably fuller. Adrian looked down at her tenderly. "How are you feeling today? Is the baby giving you any trouble?" Beside them, Chloe's best friend, Mia, watched with an envious expression. "You're so lucky, Chloe. Adrian is such a thoughtful fiancé." Watching their intimate display, I felt like a complete fool. I had imagined countless scenarios of Chloe leaving me, but I had never, ever imagined it would be for Adrian. My best friend and the woman I loved had betrayed me together. I stood frozen, unsure if I should storm over and demand answers. After all I had was Chloe's promise, not the official title of a boyfriend. Mia's voice, laced with a hint of worry, cut through my thoughts. "The wedding. Will Ethan find out?" Chloe's face hardened, her brow furrowing with impatience. "We'll just have a few people block him at the hotel entrance on the day." Mia quickly tried to smooth things over. "He just loves you too much, that's all." Chloe sneered. "He'd better stay abroad and out of my sight." Standing a short distance away, I heard every single word. It felt like a bucket of ice water had been dumped over my head, chilling me to the bone. I had loved her for 11 years. Since we were kids, I would get jealous if any boy so much as glanced at her. I followed her everywhere, never leaving her side. Everyone in our circle of friends knew how much I loved her. "I know he loves me," she continued, "but I've always been in love with Adrian." They exchanged a look, and the air around them thickened with a blissful, happy glow. I turned and stumbled towards the elevator like a defeated soldier fleeing the battlefield. Just as the doors slid open, I collided with another friend, Olivia. Her face registered shock, then panic. "Ethan, you're back? What are you doing here?" I looked at her, my throat so dry I couldn't utter a single word. So everyone knew. I was the only one left in the dark. I frantically jabbed the close button, and the elevator doors slowly shut, sealing me inside. Back in my room, I collapsed onto the bed, completely drained. The flashing neon lights outside the window did little to distract from the whirlwind of my thoughts. The reality of the days. Events began to sink in. The person I loved was marrying someone else, and she was carrying his child. She had lied to me, and my best friend had betrayed me. I just couldn't understand why. My phone vibrated again. It was Chloe. I hesitated for a moment before answering. Ethan, you're back? Why didn't you tell me? Her voice was still gentle, as if nothing had happened. If I hadn't discovered the truth, I would probably still be wrapped up in her lies. Yeah, I just got back. You should have let me know beforehand so I could have picked you up, she chided gently. A friend just told me she saw you at the hotel. Why aren't you staying at home? I was tired and just wanted to check into a hotel first, I said, my voice strained. A storm was raging inside me, and I desperately wanted to confront her, to tear down her web of deceit. Yet, a pathetic sliver of hope remained, wishing to hear an explanation from her own lips. Well, I'll come over and see you. I happened to be near the hotel anyway. When I went downstairs, she was already waiting in the lobby. She wore a loose-fitting dress that concealed her figure. Noticing my gaze, she smiled. Quickly, it's been a whole year. You're as handsome as ever. But look at me. I've put on some weight. You won't hold it against me, will you, Ethan? I didn't answer, my eyes fixed on the diamond ring on her ring finger. It sparkled under the lights, each glint a sharp blade stabbing at my heart. A year ago, under a starry sky, she had kissed my cheek and sworn, Ethan, I don't want to just be your older sister. You know how I feel, right? Don't worry, I'll wait for you to come back. Now, she stood before me, feeding me lies. The love I once cherished now seemed so cheap and ridiculous. No, I finally managed to say. Hearing my response, her smile widened. Good, let's go get something to eat. A welcome home dinner for you. As I opened the passenger door, the thick fragrance of lilies assaulted my senses. I couldn't stop sneezing. Rubbing my nose, I noticed a fresh bouquet of lilies. On the dashboard, I remembered telling her once that I was allergic to lilies. She had promised then, so sincerely, that she would never have them around me. Chloe didn't seem to notice my discomfort. Come on, get in. It's cold outside, she urged. I rolled down the window, and the cold air that rushed in offered some relief. My nose was itching terribly, and I searched for a mask. I opened the glove compartment and found a brand new box of masks inside. Just as I was about to take one, Chloe stopped me. Use the one in that bag next to you, she said. That one has a scent. I remember you like using scented things. I froze. When had I ever liked scented things? With my sensitive nose, I detested fragrances. I suddenly recalled seeing this specific brand of masks online. They were expensive and specially designed for pregnant women to filter out harmful substances from the air. A bitter realization dawned on me. She was saving them for herself. I don't like scented things, I stated flatly. How can that be? You always used to love anything with a scent. I didn't want to play this game with her anymore. I closed my eyes and pretended to sleep. Chloe chattered on, but I didn't hear a word she said. Even now, she had no intention of coming clean. We arrived at the restaurant, and Chloe quickly ordered 3 or 4 dishes. The food here is delicious. You should eat more. I stared at the plates in front of me, my scalp tingling with dread. She used to remember all my preferences, always ordering mild dishes for me and carefully picking out the cilantro I disliked. Now, she had ordered 3 spicy dishes, all garnished with cilantro. Looking at her, she felt like a complete stranger. She placed a piece of food on my plate. Go on, eat. I thought you loved cilantro. I silently picked up a piece of spicy boiled beef and forced myself to swallow it. The fiery spice exploded in my mouth, and my stomach churned. The taste was as bitter and unbearable as my feelings at that moment. By the way, why are you back so suddenly? Chloe asked casually, while eating. I thought you hadn't graduated yet. The phone she had placed on the table suddenly rang, the screen lighting up with the caller ID, my dearest husband. A flash of panic crossed her eyes. She quickly picked it up, deliberately lowering her voice as if to prevent me from hearing. I couldn't make out what was said on the other end, but I heard her whisper, "Just wait for me. I'll be right back." After hanging up, she put on an apologetic expression. Something came up at the office. I have to go. Ethan, you go ahead and eat. I'll throw you a proper welcome home party tomorrow. With that, she grabbed her purse and left the restaurant, leaving me alone with a table full of spicy food and a heart full of desolation. I rushed to the restroom and was sick for what felt like an eternity. For a whole year, I had dreamed of our reunion. In my dreams, we would hold each other tight, pouring out our longing. I had survived those lonely nights on these sweet fantasies. But reality had slapped me hard across the face. Not only had she broken her promise, but she had also trampled on what little pride I had left with her lies and deceit. Leaning back exhaustedly in the taxi, my phone pinged with a notification. It was Adrian. I opened it to see a digital wedding invitation. Heard you're back in the country. Perfect timing. To come to my and Chloe's wedding. We're having a baby, by the way. He didn't even bother to pretend anymore. In the past, he would at least put on a show of friendship in front of me. Before, learning this would have sent me into a rage. I would have stormed to Chloe's house, making a scene until she promised to cut off all contact with any other man. But now, I just rubbed my temples wearily. What was the point of causing a scene? Taking a deep breath, I called my professor. I've made my decision, Professor. I'll continue with the experiment, and I'm ready to apply for the doctoral program. My professor's familiar, surprised voice came from the other end. Ethan, you've finally come around. I always told you that you have a real talent for this. I've thought it through, I confirmed. That's fantastic. So, when will you be back? I paused for a moment. In 3 days, Professor. I have a few things to take care of here. After hanging up, I leaned back against the seat, feeling completely drained. Chloe's parents had always been good to me, treating me like their own son. I had planned to visit them today, but now I had lost the heart for it. I hesitated, but decided I should see them before I left. They had raised me for so many years. I couldn't forget their kindness. The next morning, I woke up groggy, realizing I had caught a cold. Chloe's call came right on cue. She said she was throwing a welcome home party for me at a high-end club. I wanted to refuse, but the word yes came out of my mouth instead. After all, she was still technically my sister, and I didn't want to cause a scene before her wedding and put her parents in an awkward position. Ethan, get in, she called out with a smile. I got into the passenger seat without a word, and we drove in silence. The car stopped in front of the night banquet club, but Chloe didn't get out with me. You go on in first. It's room 808. I'm waiting for someone. I nodded and got out of the car. Pushing open the door to the private room, the noisy chatter inside died down abruptly. What is he doing here? Someone whispered. I scanned the room. It was filled with our mutual friends. Quiet down. Didn't Chloe say this is supposed to be his welcome home party on the surface, but it's really a bachelor party to celebrate the wedding? Their hushed whispers reached my ears loud and clear. Some of them were people I still contacted regularly, yet not a single one had mentioned a word of this to me over the past year. I found an empty seat and sat down. A few moments later, Chloe walked in, arm in arm with Adrian. People immediately crowded around them, offering congratulations and gifts. Chloe quickly intervened. Oh, you've got it all wrong. Today is Ethan's welcome home party. The gifts should be for him. Adrian, however, shot me a provocative smile. Everyone's eyes turned to me, their gazes filled with a strange mixture of pity and amusement. They had all conspired to treat me like a fool. And these were supposed to be my friends, people who had once cheered for Chloe and me to be together. A wave of anger surged through me. Adrian walked over, holding a glass of wine. Long time no see, Ethan. Welcome back. Have a drink. I can't. I'm on medication, I replied coolly. Adrian persisted, pushing the glass almost into my face. Don't lie. Just have one to celebrate. I raised my hand to block it, and he accidentally let the glass slip from his hand. It shattered on the floor. He immediately cried out, Ethan, even if you don't like me, you don't have to take it out on me like this. Chloe rushed to stand in front of Adrian, her face full of accusation as she snapped at me. Ethan, you've gone too far. Apologize to Adrian right now. She had never been like this before. She had never yelled at me. Her eyes had never been filled with such hostility. She didn't even bother to ask what had happened, immediately assuming it was my fault. Chloe, I said, trying to keep my voice calm. He was the one who... Enough! She cut me off, her tone harsh. This is your welcome home party. Why are you making a scene? Are you only happy when you've ruined everything? My welcome home party. This was clearly their pre-wedding party. An overwhelming sense of humiliation washed over me. One was my most trusted friend, who had sworn to take care of Chloe for me before I left. The other was the woman I loved most, who had promised to be with me when I returned. They had both betrayed me. I even started to suspect that they had planned this all along. But why? Why? Did they have to deceive me? If they wanted to be together, couldn't they have just told me? Why did they have to hurt me like this? A cold laugh escaped me. Since you all love acting so much, I'll play along. I picked up a full glass of red wine from the table, walked up to Adrian, and raised it. Adrian, congratulations on winning the Fair Lady. I wish you both a long and happy life together. With that, I splashed the entire glass of wine in his face. Adrian froze, red wine dripping down his face. making him look both comical and pathetic. The room fell silent. Chloe screamed, "Ethan, are you insane? So what if he and I are together? What business is it of yours? Get on your knees and apologize to Adrian right now." Adrian feigned magnanimity. "Chloe, it's fine. I'm okay." "No, it's not fine. I've been putting up with his act for a year, and I've had enough." Chloe was relentless, fiercely protective of Adrian. That image shattered the last shred of love I had for her. I looked at her, my eyes cold as ice. "I'm not insane, but I will not apologize." Then, I turned and walked out of the room. I hailed a taxi and gave the driver the address of the Chung family's villa. After a moment of hesitation, I rang the doorbell. The door opened to reveal Mrs. Chung, her face lighting up with surprise. "Ethan, you're back." Looking at her kind smile, a pang of sadness hit me. I stepped inside and saw Mr. Chung sitting in the living room, reading a newspaper. He lowered it and smiled. "Ethan, you're back. Why didn't you give us a heads up?" I forced a smile. It was a last-minute decision. The housekeeper was busy putting up red double happiness decorations. A large, framed wedding photo of Chloe and Adrian was prominently displayed in the living room. "So, Ethan, how long are you staying this time?" "I have things to do at the university. I'll be leaving in a couple of days." Mrs. Chung stopped what she was doing. "So soon? Why don't you stay a little longer? Your sister is getting married." They didn't know about my feelings for Chloe. "I can't. I have a lot to deal with," I lied. Mr. Chung nodded in understanding. "Studies are important." He paused, then added, "By the way, your sister is pregnant. Have you seen her yet? We were going to tell you, but she said it could wait until right before the wedding." I smiled faintly. "Well, please pass on my congratulations to Chloe when you see her. Tell her to take care of herself after the baby is born." He put down his newspaper and continued. "And her fiancé, he's your best friend. He's smart and ambitious, just like you, and he's very good to her. When she had that car accident, the boy cried his eyes out. That's what won her over completely. She told us right away that she wanted to marry him. That was shortly after I went abroad. Chloe had wanted to come to the UK for my birthday and had driven out in a storm, which led to the accident. I had been frantic with worry, wishing I could fly back immediately, but my professor wouldn't approve my leave, keeping me stuck in the lab. I never knew they had gotten together back then. I was about to offer some polite response when Chloe and Adrian returned. Chloe shot me a cold glare and tried to pull Adrian upstairs. Mr. Chung coughed in disapproval. "Come back here. Have some manners." Mrs. Chung tried to smooth things over. "I don't know what's gotten into her. You two used to be so close." Her words sparked a memory. "Chloe and I grew up together. She would save up to buy me limited edition sneakers I wanted, take me to my favorite band's concerts, and even transferred 5% of her company shares to my name the year I got into university." She had said then, "Ethan, everything I have, I'm willing to share with you." Everything she did for me seemed to show how much she loved me. So I couldn't understand how 1 year could change everything. Or maybe she had never loved me at all. The sweet memories now tasted bitter. Sensing the awkwardness, Mrs. Chung changed the subject. "Chloe, the baby will be here soon. Have you thought of a name?" Adrian immediately jumped in. "We have, Mom. If it's a girl, she'll be called April Rain, and if it's a boy, he'll be called Dean Summer." My smile froze. The rain doesn't know spring has passed until the sun reveals the depth of summer. That line of poetry used to be our little secret. She had said that our future children would be named Rain and Summer. Now, she was giving those names to her children with Adrian. A heavy weight settled in my chest, making it hard to breathe. "Nice names," I managed to say, my voice hoarse. I couldn't stay there any longer. I made an excuse and went upstairs to my room. My hands trembled as I took out a cigarette and lit it. When I was 10, my parents died in the line of duty, and the Chung family adopted me. Mr. Chung was my father's old army buddy and treated me well, but he and his wife were too busy with their business to pay me much attention. The housekeeper was neglectful. I was a sensitive and insecure child, afraid to eat too much or say too much. Once, when I had a high fever and wanted some porridge, the housekeeper made me kneel and beg her for it. That was when Chloe appeared. She had berated the housekeeper. "Who gave you permission to treat my brother like this? Do it again and you're fired." That was the first time I learned she was the Chung family's daughter, 7 years my senior, and the only light in my life. The sound of the door opening jolted me back to the present. Chloe walked in, her expression complicated. "What's wrong?" She knew exactly what was wrong, yet she still pretended to care. I looked her straight in the eye. "Chloe," I began, my voice steady. Have you forgotten the promises you made to me? She frowned slightly, her tone cold. That was all just a joke. We're not right for each other. I'm too old for you. I let out a soft, humorless laugh. And what about Adrian? Was he a better match? He was the same age as me. As if reading my mind, she added, Adrian might be young, but he's mature and responsible. He takes care of me. Ethan, you need to stop thinking about me. I don't like you. I genuinely hope we can just be brother and sister. I stared at her in disbelief. She used to hate it when I called her sister. She would say, Ethan, I don't like it when you call me that. I'm going to be your wife someday. Now, the word sister came from her own lips. She took a card out of her purse and held it out to me. Take this. Consider it compensation. Let's go back to being siblings. I looked at the card, seeing it as a symbol of her pity and charity towards my feelings. A cool breeze drifted in from the window. I took the card and laughed at myself. Fine. I won't be coming back anymore. As I turned to leave, she called out behind me. If you have time, you could at least stay for my wedding. No, thanks. I'm busy. I walked out without looking back, leaving the room with a sense of finality. I went to the old oak tree where we used to meet, our carved initials now a glaring reminder of a broken past. I took out my pocket knife and violently scraped them off. Sitting in the car, I took one last look at the Chung family's villa. Every corner of that house held memories of us. It used to be my home. Now it was hers and someone else's. I had loved Chloe, but that love had reached its end. Back at the hotel, the first thing I did was change my flight. I would be leaving tomorrow afternoon. The next morning, however, I realized that the peace amulet my father had left me was missing. The smooth jade pendant was the only thing I had of him. Racking my brain, I figured it must have fallen out at the club last night. I ran a frustrated hand through my hair, but decided I had to go back for it. I went straight to the private room from last night. My hand was on the doorknob when I heard Chloe's voice from inside. Knowing Ethan's clingy personality, he won't be able to resist. Her tone was confident and laced with mockery. He'll definitely try to ruin the wedding. Make sure you guys stop him. Another voice hesitated. But Chloe, I saw on his social media last night that he said he's leaving and not coming back. I had indeed posted that last night. Chloe scoffed. It's just a game of hard to get. His little tricks are so childish. He's just throwing a tantrum. In her eyes, I would always be a child who never grew up. I found it both laughable and sad. A self-deprecating smile touched my lips as I turned and walked away. I sent a message to my friend Ryan, who was a regular at the club, asking him to keep an eye out for the amulet and mail it to me if he found it. As the plane took off, I felt a huge weight lift from my shoulders. Goodbye, city of memories. I was ready to leave the past behind and start a new life. The person who picked me up at the airport was Lily, a bright and cheerful Chinese-American girl who had been relentlessly pursuing me during my studies abroad. Even after I told her I was in love with someone else, she never gave up. She pulled me into a hug without warning. I heard you were back, so I came to get you. Surprise. I returned the hug stiffly. A big surprise. Come on, let's go get some food, she said, grabbing my suitcase and chattering away. In the car, she handed me a pack of wet wipes and a mask. It's dusty on the road. I bought these specially for you. They're unscented. At the restaurant, she confidently told the waiter, no cilantro in any of the dishes and nothing spicy. I looked at her, surprised. How did she know my preferences and eating habits so well? She noticed my gaze and smiled. What are you looking at? Nothing, I said, looking away, though my mind was in turmoil. She leaned in closer, her eyes twinkling. You're lying. Are you thinking that I'm actually quite pretty and would make a good wife? On a whim, I nodded. Yes. Hearing my answer, she shot up from her chair. What did you say? That you would make a good wife. You're willing to marry me? Yes. She threw her arms around me, her voice trembling with excitement. You're not kidding, are you? I knew it. I knew you would fall for me eventually. Do you have any idea how long I've waited for this day? Every time she had confessed her feelings before, it had been a direct proposal. She believed that when you love someone, you should aim for a lifetime together. I had laughed at her boldness then, but now I saw it as genuine sincerity. I used to be so fixated on choosing someone I loved. Now, I realized that being with someone who loved me might not be so bad after all. Marrying Lily felt right. Her love for me was sincere, passionate, and clear in her eyes. The following days were a whirlwind of wedding preparations. Living together was more harmonious than I had imagined. She would make breakfast in the morning, her sunny-side-up eggs always perfectly runny. In the evenings, We would curl up on the couch to watch movies, her head resting on my shoulder. She would occasionally steal a kiss on my cheek. Life was filled with small, surprisingly warm moments. She loved to document our lives, especially taking pictures of us. She'd snap photos while we were eating, holding hands, and even secretly when I was asleep, posting them on her social media, with sweet captions. At first, it felt strange. Chloe had never made our relationship public. But with Lily's open displays of affection, I found myself feeling comfortable and at ease. "Let my followers see my amazing husband," she would say proudly, wrapping her arms around my neck and planting a kiss on my cheek. I would smile helplessly, a strange warmth spreading through me. The feeling of being needed and relied upon was nice. The wedding planning continued at a frantic pace. Lily was meticulous about every detail, from the dress and venue to the guest list and menu. She often sent photos of the progress to someone. "That's my cousin. We're very close," she explained. "I'm just sharing my happiness with her." She looked up at me, her eyes a little nervous. "Ethan, we'll love each other until we're old and gray, right?" My heart warmed. I pulled her closer. "Of course we will." I didn't go back for Chloe's wedding. Mr. Chung called me while I was trying on wedding tuxedos with Lily. He sounded a bit annoyed, insisting that I had to be there. I patiently explained that I was also getting married and was swamped with preparations. There was a long silence on the other end before he asked who the bride was. I didn't go into detail, just told him he would find out at the wedding. Just as I hung up, my friend Ryan called. He had found my peace amulet. "It's with Chloe," he said. "I went to get it today, but she said you have to pick it up yourself." I frowned. What was Chloe thinking? She was the one who had thrown a card at me and told me to stay out of her life. Why was she now asking me to go back and get something from her? Is she there now? Put her on the phone. Soon, Chloe's voice came through. "It's my wedding day, and you're not even here? I've already left. I'm not coming back. As for the amulet, please give it to my friend, or you can mail it to me." She paused for a moment before saying, "I'd feel better if you came to get it yourself. I don't trust anyone else with it." I reminded her, my patience wearing thin. "Chloe, you were the one who told me not to come back. And the amulet is mine. If it gets lost, it's my problem. Please, just give it to my friend." The line went silent until I heard Adrian call her name in the background. "Then," she said softly, "you'll have to come back and get it yourself." And she hung up. There was nothing I could do but tell Ryan to go home. I really couldn't understand what Chloe was thinking. Didn't she realize that my going back would only make things more awkward? For the next 3 months, I buried myself in my work at the lab. The wedding preparations were in full swing, and I had almost forgotten about Chloe. That is, until her friend called. "Ethan, Chloe had the baby. Don't you want to come back and see her?" "No," I said coldly, ready to hang up before she could finish. Suddenly, Chloe's voice came on the line. "Ethan, have you been busy lately? You're not even going to come and see your niece." A surge of anger flared up inside me. "Chloe, what on earth do you want? You told me not to come back, and I agreed. Now you're asking me why I haven't visited, and you're holding my amulet hostage. What are you thinking?" There was a moment of silence on the other end, and then she hung up. I immediately blocked the number, feeling an inexplicable wave of frustration. I went to the lab and threw myself into my experiments. My professor told me that a new investor, impressed by my work, had recently invested a significant amount of money into our lab. I didn't know who it was, but I was grateful. At least someone in the world recognized my value. When I got home, Lily had already cooked dinner. "My cousin is coming to visit next month," she said. "We should take her out for a nice dinner." I nodded without asking any more questions. On the day of the dinner, we went to a high-end restaurant. Lily's cousin was already there, elegantly perusing the menu. As I got closer, I froze. It was Chloe. She had put on weight since I last saw her a few months ago. Her face was rounder, likely from her recent pregnancy. Lily, oblivious, enthusiastically, linked her arm through mine and introduced me. "Cousin Chloe, this is the boyfriend I was telling you about, Ethan. We're getting married soon." Chloe's gaze swept over my face, finally settling on our intertwined hands. She gripped the menu so tightly her knuckles turned white. When did you two meet?" Lily, still unaware of the tense atmosphere, beamed. "Ethan and I were classmates. I pursued him for over a year before he finally said yes." She turned to me and affectionately pinched my cheek. "It's because he had someone else he liked in his heart. Good thing that person didn't know what they were missing, so I could snatch up my treasure." For the rest of the meal, Chloe barely said a word. Lily, on the other hand, kept putting food on my plate. When a waiter brought a dish garnished with cilantro, Lily immediately stopped him. I said no cilantro. My fiancé doesn't like it. Chloe looked up at me, her expression unreadable. You used to eat it before. Lily pouted slightly. My husband never eats cilantro when we eat at the university. Of course, Chloe knew I disliked cilantro. She had just forgotten. Or rather, she had chosen to forget. Chloe said nothing more and went back to eating in silence. After dinner, Lily went to the restroom. Chloe's eyes bored into me. You did this on purpose, didn't you? I raised an eyebrow. Ethan, you're doing this to spite me, aren't you? That's why you're with Lily, she said with conviction. Chloe, what are you talking about? I had moved on and found a new life, yet here she was, becoming suspicious and paranoid. Ethan, you didn't come to my wedding. You didn't come when my baby was born, and now you're deliberately letting me know you're getting married. You're just trying to get my attention, aren't you? The more she spoke, the more certain she seemed. Not bad, you've gotten smarter. You've even learned to use schemes. She smiled smugly, as if she had seen through all my tricks. But these cheap tactics won't work on me. I suddenly burst out laughing. Chloe, are you feeling all right? Lily and I are genuinely in love. I had no idea you were her cousin before this. What goes on in that head of yours? You? Her face instantly paled. She probably hadn't expected me to deny it so directly. After all, the old me had worshipped the ground she walked on. Ethan, didn't you used to be in love with me? I pressed my lips together. You said it yourself, that was in the past. I don't love you anymore. I paused, remembering the amulet she still had. By the way, since you're here, you can give me back my peace amulet. Her expression stiffened. She took the hand-carved amulet from her purse and slammed it on the table. The wooden pendant made a dull thud. Good. I was worried you would keep bothering me. Just then, Lily returned. In front of Chloe, I picked up the amulet and handed it to Lily. My dad said this should only be given to the person you love most. It will. Keep both of us safe. I had once planned to give it to Chloe, fantasizing about her delighted reaction. I was glad I had realized in time that she wasn't worthy of it. Lily accepted it happily, while Chloe's face turned livid. She stood up abruptly and left the restaurant without another word. I thought that would be the end of it, that Chloe would go back to her life. But the next day, she showed up at my research institute. I'm your new investor. Why would she invest in the lab? For me? The thought flashed through my mind, but I quickly dismissed it. Well, thank you, Chloe. My formal address made a flicker of hurt cross her eyes. She hesitated before speaking again. Adrian and I are getting a divorce. He said I got fat. I thought, if it were you, you would never think that way. Her voice was low, filled with a mix of grievance and hope. I looked at her, stunned, unsure of what to say. She couldn't possibly think we could start over, could she? As if I were some backup plan she could always fall back on. So, why are you telling me this? I asked impatiently. She bit her lip, looking down. I'm just saying, you can marry me now. You don't have to marry Lily out of spite. Break up with her. I'll fulfill my promise to you. Let's be together. Her words were not only surprising, but also laughable. She really did see me as her backup. Lily and I are in love. We're getting married soon. I don't love you. You're just my sister. Her face grew paler, and her fists clenched at her sides. You're lying, Ethan. You love me. I've made myself clear already. I don't love you anymore. Chloe, I sincerely wish you and Adrian the best. You should go back to him. He's a good man. With that, I pushed her out of the door without hesitation. The love I once had was real, but so was the fact that it was now gone. When I got home, I decided to tell Lily everything. Chloe's reappearance had unsettled me, and I was worried Lily might misunderstand. Lily, there's something I need to tell you. Lily was arranging some new flowers and looked up. I know what you're going to say. I was taken aback. You know? I know you used to be in love with Chloe. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. Actually, I was the one who asked her to come. I stared at her in disbelief. You asked her to come? Why? A mischievous glint appeared in Lily's eyes. Because I couldn't stand seeing someone treat your love so carelessly. Her tone shifted to one of indignation. Why should Chloe get to treat you like that? To be able to summon you and dismiss you as she pleases? I just wanted to show her how well you're doing now, how happy you are. I wanted her to regret it, to be jealous. I looked at her sparkling eyes, a mix of emotions churning inside me. I had once thought Chloe was the most important person in my life. I had given her my all, only to be hurt time and time again. But now, the woman sitting beside me was protecting my pride and my happiness in her own way. I suddenly started laughing, so hard that tears streamed down my face. What are you laughing at? I wiped my tears. I'm laughing at how foolish I was. How could I have been so blind? To have someone as wonderful as you right here, and yet I was chasing after someone who was never mine. Lily smiled and leaned her head on my shoulder. It's not too late to realize it now, she said softly. I took her hand and brought it to my lips for a gentle kiss. Lily, I love you. In that moment, I felt like I had the whole world. The confusion and pain of the past dissolved. I finally understood that true happiness isn't about chasing an impossible dream. It's about cherishing the person right in front of you.